the so-called Christian group, Al-Nasraniya, had reached a level where it is dangerous to Islam. Of course, the so-called Christian will enjoy it with their cross. Because even when they dealt some on them, I don't know if it's going to reach them or not. When they dealt with my videos, they said Islam is surrounded. And this is how Islam is surrounded, because he's facing a lot of pressure, Islam. So this is signs that Islam is being destroyed. And some said that the Antichrist is renewing himself through the time by me and things and rubbish like that. No, this is how you get it wrong. I mean, we're dealing with the so-called Christian people who relate themselves to the Messiah. And they look at Allah, the creator of existence, and His word to Muhammad, the final messenger, as what is the word? As lie. And at the same time, the devil have manipulated their minds in a way. They are a crusader, they are anti-Christians, they shouldn't be called Christian from the first place. I'm sorry to say this, I apologize for the good ones. There is among them wonderful people who I really dealt with even before I came here. A so-called Christian who respect the Arabian Peninsula, respect that there shouldn't be any house of worship else than masjid. Few, of course, but there is. Now, and but through the white race in the Western Russia, the cross have reached a level where almost right now we cannot call it the Nasraniya, Ahlul Kitab, the supporter of the Messiah, or the supporter of Isa, those who support that he is a son of virgin and he is the Messiah. Al-Nasraniyan, the people of the book, Ahlul Kitab, they are no longer people of the book and they are no longer supporters of the Messiah. They are a worshipper of the devil, the father of the Antichrist, and the Antichrist his son. I understand you wouldn't like what I'm saying the truth about yourself. The case I'm trying to explain. Let's return back at the time of the Messiah, Isa, the son of Virgin Mary, peace be upon him and peace be upon his mother. Can you imagine that there is, of course you will say yes, that the Roman, there is some cults and some sacrifice and things within the Romans. And you got the so-called, Israelis who are Jaham, accepting Islam by the Judean way through the Israelite who are inhabitants of the Holy Land. And the Israelite are Muslims submitted to God, and they are the Jehovah's way, dealing with God. They do some sacrifice exactly like the Muslim right now. The Muslims do some sacrifice in Eid al-Fitr wa Eid al-Adha for dimensional things, spiritual things, sending a sign, and for feeding the poor. Okay? And God have explained that God would never allow that Abraham would sacrifice his child. The way within the history, even after Noah, people sacrifice children. Okay? And they say even after Abraham there was certain group, unfortunately, that start sacrificing their own babies, and this is terrible. I don't want to talk about this. Let's ignore this point about sacrificing. Can you imagine that the Roman came, the Messiah, the destruction of Masjid al-Aqsa, the house of Yahweh, our house, which is Masjid al-Aqsa, the destruction of the real Solomon temple, which is built right now, at the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab. It was built, renewed, at the time of, just after Muhammad, based on the instruction of God to Muhammad. Now they want to build the temple of the devil. Those who insist calling themselves Jews, those who got nothing to do with the Israeli race, they are representing culture, got nothing to do with the Israelis. They are so-called Israelis, and they got nothing to do with the Jehovian, Yahudian faith of Moses and Daniel and Solomon and David. Nothing. Even the grandfather through Mary, Virgin Mary, of the Messiah, nothing. But they just want to insist with their ceremony. It's your right, just don't make a problem. That's why I salute, with a great respect, the group that call itself anti-Zionist Jew, so-called anti-Zionist, and insist calling them. I salute them, anti-Zionist Jew, and I respect you. And they should be ashamed of themselves, the other group of those who insist calling themselves Jews. I respect you, anti-Zionist Jew. I respect you, okay? I understand that life is not easy. I understand that you are facing a lot of problems and criticism from the worship of the devil. I respect you. can you imagine that the Roman would come and say, "You are bothering us after Constantine, you Jews." Now, before Constantine, there was. I am saying this a lot. I say it maybe more than 100 times, even before I came here to England. Before Constantine, there was a persecution to the Israeli race. I'm not cross. If I cross, no, I have the right to cross any line. I'm saying the truth. Yeah. Because before Constantine, the Israelites were persecuted because of their race. After Constantine, no, it have nothing to do with all those who call themselves Jews. Because some of the Israelites accepted to become a so-called Christians, even within the tribe of Unazah. A lot become so, and a lot of the so-called Unazah, there was real Israelis. I'm sorry, real Israelis within the Unazah accepted after Constantine the so-called Christianity with the cross, and they accepted then Islam after Muhammad. So the Roman came and said, "Stop your filthy ceremony of sacrifice. He was crucified for our sin." Who? The Son of God. Are we talking about an emperor? Like the emperors before Constantine? The son of gods and stars? And no. We're talking about him, the servant of God. Son. Now there is an interpretation of the son. The son means the servant of the word. And the servant, you understand me? With time, the interpretation become what? Son. The way emperor used to deal, even in certain level, are the servant of the gods and the stars. And also they consider it a child. But in the real Torah, even, servant of God, those are chosen. That's why after he was risen, they used to say about him that he is not a servant of God. He is absolutely anti-godly. And people who loved him said, yes, he is a servant, he is a messenger. You understand me? I understand that they hate what I'm saying. But they need to understand, they need to accept my curse as well. I explained about this. The Roman came and they said, listen, stop your sacrifice. He died for us. He was crucified. Now, we go to the Messiah. Do you think that the Messiah would go and preach? I mean, why don't you imagine Muhammad, Moses, any messenger, all over the East and the West, there is others, are mentioned in the Quran, the confirmed hadith, or none? Now, can you imagine that someone would say there was a sin in heaven, Adam and Eve, and we are paying the price of the sin, and I'm gonna be dead, and I will be killed for your sin. All what you need to do is to believe that I will be crucified for you. God, I'm his son. I'm his son, begotten son. He will sacrifice me, and I will be killed. No more animals. No, you understand me? The way I don't want to go deep about why animals and things, and I will be killed for. This is rubbish. It didn't happen. The Messiah didn't say, and I will be killed for your sin, and there will be no more sacrifice, and I shall retain my resurrection. No, this didn't happen. I understand it's not easy for you to accept what I'm trying to say. I'm going to repeat it again. If you want to worship the devil or do something wrong, or you insist on what you think that is good, do it far away from me. And look what the sequences of this understanding, this path. Secularism, liberalism, LGBT, with my respect, with my great respect, establishing the so-called Israeli state. They want to destroy the house of Allah. Atheism is taking place. The so-called Hinduism and the so-called Buddhism are becoming more powerful than even so-called Christianity itself in China and India. Not to mention how the Islam is being destroyed there and there. They are bringing dark and sin through this understanding, twisted understanding twisted understanding of the mission, the great mission of him, the Messiah, Son of Virgin Mary. You shall not accept what I am trying to say, except few. Either you are insisting in calling yourself a Jew, or you're calling yourself a Shi'at of Ahlul Bayt, so-called, or you're a so-called Hindus, or a so-called Buddha, or even if you're an atheist and you cannot see God. I understand. If you want to insist, back off. Don't bring damage to me. I have enough problem in the internal. You have something to establish even dark things within the internal. Ishmaelian lander. I don't want this video to be deleted. I want to stop. He blessed him, the word of God, peace be upon him, the son of Virgin Mary, the Messiah, Isa. Blessed his mother, the Virgin, peace be upon her, Mary, he was never a Jew. He was an establisher of a new era. He talked about Muhammad. And he did a big mission and he shall return back. He never said, I will die for your sin. Never. No. This is how they believe, that this sin is recovered. And if you do not accept him, then you accept the sin. No, this is rubbish. This is rubbish. It comes with the taghut in different ways. And the cross, and they look at the cross and how he died for the blood, for the blood, just for us to accept him as a release to the sin, or destruction to the inherited sin. I don't know how to say it in English. No, this is wrong. This is bad. Of course, God still will consider a group. No ground of excuse on them, that they are the people of the book. Imagine this, and they are the Nasara, not the Christian, not the Missieah. Now there is a question mark about the word Christian. Not to the level of Jesus, the pig of earth. His name is Isa. But there is Messiah, Messiahian. They are not Messiahian. The real Messiahian are Muhammadian. But you will insist. And this made the Goham, Gentile, Goham, in Europe mainly, with even the Talmud, did not accept him, because they understand, from understanding God, though there is a lot of manipulation within the Torah and the Talmud, which had nothing to do with God. God will never accept this manipulation, which they consider more important than the Torah, by the way, and this is right. Just study things. They did not accept. You eat the pig, you put this figure of Taghut, pagans, and you call him a person who died for our sin. You understand me? I'm talking about the Gaham. The real Israelis accepted the so-called Christianity. Some of them ran away and insisted, like my grand ancestors. And we accepted Islam at the time of Muhammad, because the man may make sense. Now, who's empowering even the so-called Zionists, those among the group insisting calling themselves Jews, who got nothing to do except to the wild beast, the devil, and they are expecting the Antichrist, the so-called Christian, with their cross. See, it's... Not me, you. This is important. You know what? Even if you delete the video, I don't care. He did not say, I will die for you. He didn't. It doesn't make sense. Can you? I want to talk to anyone. Muslims, no, it doesn't work. People of so-called share, anyone, any messenger, call any messenger, came and say, there will be no sin. The sin that Adam did it, now I'm going to be killed. He will kill me for your sin. He's my father. I am his son. No, it didn't work this way. No, there is a lot of problem with the interpretation. No, this is rubbish, okay? And the ground of excuse on you. Yeah, there is hellfire, the oven. You're not like their ancestor, maybe 100 years, 200 years. No. Now, if you do not accept the truth, if you do not stop bringing darkness to us, on just personal case, with an alignment of understanding, the Shman be brought, the Shman not, with an alignment of